The subject for this session is awareness. Awareness is the key to everything, really, when it comes to personal development. It's a subject more than any other which drives the whole process. And we could have looked at this in the first session because it's so important. But I wanted to keep it until now, because if we just kick off with awareness, then awareness of what? And the stuff that we've looked at up until now, patterns of behaviour, the mind, all of that stuff, that's what we need to become aware of. All you have to do is observe, reflect. And if you write things down, that's going to strengthen your observations. It's one thing to sit there and observe yourself or observe your environment and reflect. It's another thing to go away and take the time to put pen to paper, or to sit at your computer and reflect on the day, reflect on your behaviour, and write a few sentences down. If, for example, you would go away from here today and make a commitment to yourself just to write one thing down that you became aware of during the day, that's going to take you a minute. I was going to say 10 seconds, but I'll give you an extra 50 seconds and call it a minute. That's a minute of your time. And when you do that, when you make that kind of commitment, which is nothing really, you'll notice that you'll notice more and more and more about your behaviour, and you will have more stuff to write about in the evening if you wanted to. You don't have to. I've talked about it before. If I were to give you 10 euros and send you to the cinema and say have a good time, you'd have a good time. But if I say go and have a good time and then send me a half a page summary of the film that you've just watched, you're going to pay more attention. You're going to think, I'll write that down. That's a good point. That's a good point. And even if you just come away and write 3 points from the film, you've gone into it more aware because of that commitment to write stuff down. There's so much power behind awareness. And it's really all it takes. That's maybe a bit of an exaggeration. It's half the battle, let's say, just to see your behaviour. We used to, I'm going to read another piece from the book in a moment, but we used to, and I've talked about this in the past as well, we used to be challenged quite heavily in the group. And sometimes we'd lose our patience and we'd say things like, I'm trying. What do you want me to do? And he would always say the same thing to us every single time we said that. I don't want you to try. I just want you to see what I can see. Because when you do that, again, the transformation begins. And I thought to myself, surely it can't be that easy. It sounds far too easy. All I have to do is see it, and then it's already moving. But that's exactly it. So we have these blind spots, we have these aspects of our behaviour that we don't know about, or that we're not fully conscious of. And in the piece I'm going to read in a moment, it talks about how important it is to get the kind of feedback from people close to you, because otherwise you're not going to get the full picture. You can do an awful lot of reflection on yourself. You can observe yourself to the nth degree and get a lot of information, but there's still those blind spots that you can't see, and you need other people's input, people who are close to you. To complete the picture, to get the full information, I needed expert input, essentially. And I see that in my work. With people read my book or my blogs, and they get a lot from it, and they do a lot with it. But when they come to work with me, that's a whole different experience for them, because they're getting expert advice, they're getting expert feedback. I'm pushing them to do more reflection, to observe more, to see the connections, to understand what I'm saying, and that becomes so much more powerful for them. So many of us go through life on automatic pilot, and it sometimes takes not a disaster necessarily, but something to wake us up to what's going on, to what's been going on for years. And as soon as that happens, it's a little bit overwhelming, because you think, oh Christ, there's so much to do now. But actually, just being awake is a gift enough. And if you understand that it really is this simple, it really is that powerful, then you can relax even more. Like it said in there, smile. Because as soon as you start to see this stuff, it's already shifting. And the one of the finest examples is your breathing. All the time we've been talking, you've been breathing in and out. But if you turn your attention to your breathing, it's different. It becomes different. It's deeper or more shallow or more irregular. Just looking, observing your own breathing has an influence on it. Observing your breathing, you can no longer breathe the way you were breathing 30 seconds ago, because you're looking at it, you're observing it, you're paying attention to it, you're aware of it. For the rest of the time it goes on in the background. And that's how it is with behaviour. We're so busy doing our stuff, whatever it is, that we behave the way we've always behaved. And we learnt those patterns at the very beginning of life, based on what happened to us, but also based on decisions that we made about how we are going to live our life. Everything you do, you can begin to observe. I wouldn't say analyse necessarily. You don't have to analyse to begin with. Just observe how you do things. Observe how you behave, how you respond. That's all you need to do. Just see it. See it as clearly as you can. And then you can make a decision. Yeah, I like this part of me. This is great. I love this. This bit, I'd like to do something about that. But again, all you have to do is see it. You don't have to find any massive conclusions about these things. Just seeing is enough. Really is. And if you can take just that with you tonight, that all you have to do is see clearly who you are, that's going to be more powerful than anything else you could take from tonight. Cool. Thank you very much.